Hello, everybody. Thank you, Anne. My name is Nalini Chhetri, and I'll make this very short. I'm a faculty, and it's a pleasure to introduce my class, but also the class that Anne advises. So I call it our class. We have 8 students, and today it is, of course, in the project, we have at least 4 projects here, and Ryan and Cabot will be presenting. Clarkdale are also doing biannual, and the other groups are doing Gilbert, project with Gilbert, and also a project with Peoria. We also want to thank everybody here for basically allowing the students to have an opportunity to deal with real world situation and how both joyful and frustrating, challenging, but also at the end meaningful it becomes. So they get to understand all of that. We have today, Ryan is both a student, a father, a veteran, and Cabot is from Texas, just to liven these things up. But he is very much sustainability considered. I just thought to liven these people, as these students have been putting their, I think, trying to understand these situations. And I am now going to hand it over to them.
I'm Ryan right here in front. Cabot is.
Hi, I'm Cabot. Nice to meet you all.
But yeah, we appreciate this opportunity to do this. I'm actually from Cottonwood originally, so get to do a project a little bit closer to home was fun. But that's really kind of I think all I have to add, unless Cabot has anything.
No, I appreciate you all letting us engage in this project. It's definitely been learning for many aspects, and I appreciate y'all allowing us to get our hands dirty and get into some massive project like this. So thank y'all, and appreciate everything y'all do.
Hello, my name is Ryan Swamp, and myself, together with Cabot Brunkenhofer, who could not join me right now, have been working all semester to put together this plan for the town of Clarkdale in order to convert the Selma Mangini Park from its current dilapidated state into more of a STEM education and sustainability park. Cabot and myself are working with the Urban Sustainability Best Practices and Applications course, and this is our fall 2021 project. The town of Clarkdale is located in the Verde Valley, which is north central Arizona. It occurs along the transition zone, so it's got a lot of faulting, which have exposed the aquifers which create the Verde River, as well as copper up in the town of Jerome, which really led to its boom in the early part of the 18th century. Clarkdale was established in 1912 by William Clark. This town was actually to be the smelting area for the Jerome copper that was being brought down. At the time, Clarkdale was considered a modern mining town. It had a lot of the amenities that you would expect to find in a modern town. So telegraph, fresh water, phone, electricity, sewage were all included commodities in the town. However, since the mine has stopped operation, the subsequent melting did cause a lot of soil degradation, and it is still in need of rehabilitation. Clarkdale acknowledges these problems, and though it's an older town, it really is aiming to kind of redefine what they've been known for, and instead of being the modern mining town, they're aiming to be more of a modern sustainability town. And I've been doing this over the past couple semesters by working with Arizona State University to implement a lot of new ideas. And that's exactly what we're doing here by reimagining the Selma Mangini Park, for educating visitors on the local benefits of the Verde River that they receive, understanding the local geography, which has spurred life in the area, while simultaneously encouraging and promoting sustainable habits. In order to look at the STEM side of the park, we looked at a couple of features that were either in early iterations of the park, or maybe haven't been considered quite yet. And among the suggestions that we think are really nice given the area is the implementation of a butterfly garden. There's a lot of native wildflowers that grow that already bring in butterflies, as we noticed on our visit to the area. There's also an opportunity for citizen science, both in the terms of monitoring, where you can set up meteorological stations which can be shared through databases throughout the state, so you can know what weather is going on at any given time. You could also create guided tours for the flora by adding QR codes or audio guidance to have you have an opportunity to tour the park. There's also educational stickers and signage that could go on recycle bins and dumpsters, which could be downloaded as PDF forms, so that way consumers can take this home with them and start implementing some of these ideas at home as well as in the park. Some of the benefits that would be received by the community includes engaging citizens in science throughout all ages, not keeping it exclusive to just younger minds. For elderly individuals or homeowners, they can be part of an urban forestry tracking, especially if they're using native flora so that we can better understand the vegetation in the area. For ecotourism, the inclusion of this park might expand birding opportunities. It also gives a Verde River tour exhibit so that people, primarily younger visitors, will have a better understanding of the area that they're currently visiting. Youth learning is fostered in a lot of different ways. We're creating ecological explorers. They can both visit the park and then visit the local Verde River or the Sedona Red Rocks or the Jerome Mine to get a better understanding of continuing to expand that education. This would make it a prime field trip destination. Students could do field trips and it would allow for the continuing of education outside of school, both during school season and during the summer. Community events could be held in the park, hosting dark sky events or trash recycle pickups, as well as educational events, would be extremely beneficial for the community and usage of the park. When looking at sustainability features, there's a lot of different options that could be done. Some of the most interesting that stuck out to us are as follows. Obviously, offering a recycling program is essential. Anytime you're going to be doing anything with sustainability, there needs to be some sort of focus on recycling. So ensuring you have the proper amount of receptacles available so that you're reducing the amount of waste in the park is essential. Potentially partnering with Patriot Disposal would allow for signage that can be created to help residents better understand how to properly dispose of recycling as well, maybe reducing costs on the user end as well. The use of native flora is always nice. A lot of native flora is often adapted to drought conditions of the region, and so they can require less water. You can also reduce the amount of paved surfaces. This is a little bit easier said than done. Cement obviously creates a stable enough environment so that individuals in wheelchairs or crutches can easily move, and by replacing that with something like rubber or wood chips would make it extremely difficult for individuals with disabilities. Fertilizing with compost and mulch is a great idea, especially if the implementation of the neighborhood garden goes through. Maybe there can be some sort of program in place to allow for composting as well. This mulch is really good in high slope environments. We have a lot of slopes up in the northern part of the higher part of the map that we're looking at. That's all high slope environment that drains down into the Great Lawn. So by putting mulch up in that area, you're going to reduce the amount of overland flow. So you'll be reducing the amount of sediment that's traveling down to the Great Lawn. The repurposing of current infrastructure is important. It both reduces costs while keeping historic landmarks. And this should be encouraged whenever possible. The use of rainwater capture is a really unique opportunity in this part of town. We are on a slope, or this park is on a slope, and so it receives a lot of drainage during high rainfall events. And so utilizing something like the Great Lawn as some sort of rain garden, which can create a depositional area where the water can sit and allow to percolate into the groundwater table, or just using curb cuts and sediment traps to avoid erosion and to ensure that plants are maximizing the amount of water that they receive should also be considered. Currently, the town of Clarkdale is looking into the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which really focuses on revitalizing older parks. But we did find 3 additional grants which might prove useful to the town. The Energize the Environment grant has a couple of conditions in which it could qualify. However, the main one that we noticed right away is that there is an opportunity for grants to parks that offer youth and adult sustainable education. There are 2 applications for this grant, June 30th and October 30th, and the grant allotment is up to $3,500. The safety and environmental education is also another potential opportunity for grant access. However, we don't actually meet all of the current requirements for that, and there would be extra work needed. The shade structure is another one where we don't currently have everything in place. However, it would be fairly easy to get a program in place. In order to get this structure, or in order to get this grant, which provides shade structures up to $8,000, you have to have a sunscreen or sun protection plan in place for over a year in order to do that. If Clarkdale were to team with the Arizona State Urban Practices team next semester, a plan like that could potentially be put into place so that this grant might be achievable in the future. After looking at all of the conditions which could be implemented into the park, we would make the following recommendations. For education, placing QR codes and plaques around the park for educational value would be highly recommended, as well as hosting community park events either with the Friends of the Verde River or local educators. Creating weather stations for community involvement allows for engagement in community citizen science. For sustainability purposes, the use of native flora and rain capturing would help both reduce the amount of runoff and flooding downstream, while also potentially reduce the cost of maintenance needs. Offering of recycling is essential. Making sure that there's the quantity needed to meet the demands of the park should be considered. And next semester, engaging with Arizona State to continue promoting the sustainable education and some sort of sun exposure prevention plan would be highly recommended to qualify for grants to help funding these projects. For Cabot, I'd like to take the time to say thank you for everyone. This has been a lot of work this semester, and we appreciate your time, and we hope everyone has a good night.